I knew I kept this thing around for for a reason. All right, let's just
I
clap
felt
for
so cringe while doing it. I didn't know what to do.
welcome everybody to the Lunch Table's apocalyptic review of Umbrella Academy season 3, now out on Netflix. What a season. It's one of my favorite shows. It's very, I would say, lighthearted compared to other shows like The Boys. But we're gonna break down our favorite moments from the show. So, Akram, tell me your initial thoughts.
Yeah, I thought it was a blast. It was really fun. I'm glad to see the gang back together. It's been so long too, and we could clearly tell that they were affected by the pandemic. But I think what they did was no, what they did was awesome. I think it suited the story very well. Um, but I actually wanted to ask you. I think what everyone's been talking about, mostly in the media, is Elliot Page now. And I wanted to ask you right off the bat, how do you feel they handled it?
Honestly, I thought it was very like handled well in this season. I mean, like Elliot's character, like yeah, I was worried too that it would feel like kind of weird and out of place, but I think it works well. It's kind of like a reinvention of like Elliot's character. So I think like having the transition from Vanya to Victor actually worked for this season because it's like he's like discovering himself again. So it's like he's cutting away his old past, and it's like he's reinventing his character. So I think it worked pretty well, and it was cool that like everybody was like really like cool with it and very accepting. But how did you feel about it?
Oh yeah, I thought it was really smooth. I felt like they didn't linger too much to make it a whole thing like in the story. And at the same time too, it's like you said, it's like a reinvention of this person. And it also speaks clearly to reality too. It's like a reinvention of this person. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And obviously Victor has such a horrible past of like being like committing genocide basically like twice, but um I don't know. I felt like it was lovely, and it's kind of like a redemption arc, you know. And I think it's an interesting path to explore later on. Like, does Victor really deserve to be forgiven by everyone? I don't know. Clearly, there are some characters that don't feel the same way. So yeah, but without further ado, let's just get straight to the review.
Well, I wanted to ask you how you felt because obviously last season, with that cliffhanger, we saw the return of Ben,
Yeah.
and also he's part of this new group of heroes, the Sparrow Academy. So we get introduced to them, and they're kind of like a more efficient Umbrella Academy. It's so funny, like when they fought, they're so much like better in so many ways, but they also have flaws too. So tell me what you thought of them.
Yeah, they're really organized. But I feel like some flaws actually keep you alive, as we seen like later on in the show. Um, it's really interesting too. Like it's I can't it obviously the show doesn't like really copy the comics that much. It just is influenced by it. So they are very different from the comics. And unfortunately some characters have died like way too soon. I want to see some more interactions. But I felt like it was really interesting. They're really interesting characters. And compared to the actual Umbrella Academy, I like to see like, personalities collide. And I felt like we had a lot of opportunities here to see that. So that was really cool. What did you think?
Yeah, I agree. I kind of feel like I kind of wanted to see more of them because I feel like some of them like died off way too early. Like
Yeah.
Marcus died in like fucking what second episode,
Oh
and
yeah,
I
that
feel like he
sucked.
was like the most like down to earth character.
Right.
And then some of them like some of their powers were cool actually. I like seeing like what they could do and how they were able to like go up against like umbrellas. Um, Ben definitely. I love the actor who played Ben just because like he felt like such a different person in this timeline. Like, you could definitely tell, like, it's like 'cause I loved Ben, like, the first 2 seasons where he's kinda like Klaus's, like, anchor, to
Mm.
reality, but here he's such a fucking, like, asshole, and I
Yeah.
kinda love it. Like, I hate his character, like, so much so props to the actor who played him. But yeah, they were cool, and it's like we said, like, they're kind of a more effective, version of the Umbrella Academy, but, um they mentioned this, in one of the later episodes, like, they're kind of fake in a way because 'cause
Mhm.
they're more about, like, their look and their image than actually, like, being a family. So I like how they, explore that. But some of them were really cool, like Sloane, obviously. she falls for Luther, and they kind of have like this like little West Side story, like Montague and Capulet romance. So I thought that was really nice, and we'll talk about that big weddings episode too. But uh, going back to the umbrellas, were there any characters that stood out to you this season?
I think for sure, well, obviously Elliot Page, or Victor, but I think Diego too. That was a weird ass subplot that
I
threw
got some
me.
thoughts on it. I want to hear what
Yeah,
you had to say about it.
yeah. Well, all right. So basically, he has a son, which doesn't make sense. So he has a son with what's her name again? The
Lila.
Delilah. He has a son with Delilah, and it did not make. It was really weird. I was like, "Damn, this motherfucker cold." Like, the whole thing was, like, so
I was like, they
cold.
should have like he should have took her ass to like Mario or Jerry Springer to
"What,
find out.
Jerry?"
Jerry,
It
Jerry.
was so cold. Like, and first of all, I love the actor. He plays Ashtray in, Euphoria. So I was expecting, like,
Oh, the
some.
Stanley kid.
Yeah, so I was expecting some more, like, action from him, and I really thought that, like, he was, like, the actual son from Diego. At least I thought he'll, like, inherit some abilities, which I thought would be cool. But the whole thing just felt like he was basically like a throwaway character. I don't know what purpose it really served. Uh, yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on it because also some stuff happened later
Well,
on.
it lost the impact for me because after she admitted that that's not their son and she's actually
Exactly.
pregnant, I was like, well, then why not just make him the actual son? Because it's like it had a bigger impact when he actually got Kugelblitz, right? And then it's just like, okay, well, I don't really care because he's not really their son, right? So it's not like she really or they really lost anything like Allison, right?
Yeah,
I
and they
mean, yeah,
hired
he was
him.
like a funny kid, but it's like it's not really their kid. So it's like, why should I care, right?
And the actor too, like, why even hire this actor? Like, just he's an awesome actor too. It's like he was just such a throwaway character. I wonder if they'll bring
Mhm.
him back for, like, season 4, like as a shock or something. I don't know. It was ass.
Unless
I
they,
really
like,
didn't like
fucking,
it.
like, adopt him or something, which would be really stupid in my
No, that would
opinion,
be
because
so corny.
she's already
No.
pregnant, so it's like, why would they, like it's like,
That
oh,
yeah.
she sends him back to the gutters, like
Like,
he's like
"Oh, now
Reva.
you feel bad?"
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, it's so corny,
he
no.
becomes an inquisitor. That's so
Yeah,
stupid.
right, you're so stupid. In a different dimension or a different
Right.
universe. That was a throwaway character, honestly, but what were, like, your standout characters?
Definitely Klaus. Klaus,
Oh, I love Klaus.
I've always loved his stories in the last 2 seasons, but he's gone through such a journey from, like, just being, like, this cokehead in season 1 to now he's, like and then, like, a spiritual, like, guru in season 2,
Mhm.
and now he's kind of like the glue that's, like, sticking all the umbrellas together and the sparrows too, right? And I loved every scene with him and Hargreaves. I think
Oh,
because
yeah.
like, that was such, like they're little bonding moments. I love when, like, the umbrellas are actually like family and they start like bonding with each other. I always like those more moments more than like when they're like fighting. Just because it's kind of like annoying just like hearing them like bicker and banter, but like
Agreed.
seeing like him and Reggie just have like a father son moment. And it was so like it actually made it more sad when Reggie betrayed them at the end. But yeah, it was, like, fun. They were having, like, little, like like, catch in the street thing. It was so
That was
funny.
so funny, yeah,
I
that
was
was
so mad they
great.
kept running him over because like, they were all hit and runs, like, none of them, like, got out of their car
None of them called
to,
the
like
cops, so I was
right?
like,
It
"Damn, this
was
guy."
like, "Damn, what state is that?"
Reggie had, like, a wad of cash to pay everyone off.
I was
Like,
like,
he
"Damn, these
must have.
motherfuckers cold." I was
Yeah.
No, but
Seriously.
they had really sweet moments, and I thought it was so, like, ironic that, like well, first of all, I felt sad for Reggie at first because like, they were doping him up, and then he kinda feels like this old, like, senile,
Right.
family member that you just put in a nursing home and you never, like, see from again. But I thought it was so ironic that, like, Klaus, of all people, is the one to get him off the dope, like,
Yeah.
to make him sober up.
It's a
I
glow
thought that
up,
was so
yeah.
funny, yeah,
Yeah.
and then we get, like, more exploration of his powers, so apparently he's immortal now, which I think is really cool, so he goes from just, like, this person who talks to ghosts to, like, kinda like this master of death almost.
That's great for him too, because he had such a fear earlier. So, like, he's overcoming, like, obviously drug addiction and now, like, mastering death? That's amazing. I really love his character, honestly. He had such, like, an evolution in this.
Yeah, definitely, of course, Five is back. Five's always been one of my favorite
Always.
characters.
Yeah.
But I feel like he didn't really do much in this season,
Mm-mm.
because he's always been kinda one that, like, solves everything, but now he's just kinda like I felt bad because like, he wanted to just retire, but he couldn't even do that.
Yeah, he never has a chance. Yeah, I know. I
I
love
know.
Five. Yeah, he's such a great actor, that guy.
Yeah. I mean, like, I loved, when he was at the party and just, like, getting drunk, and it's like, this is the most we've ever seen him, like, just, like, be friendly, like, towards the other, like, siblings because he's always
Mhm.
kinda, like, berating them. Um, but yeah, what else? Oh, Allison, of course.
Oh, yeah.
I hated her this season, I'll be honest. I wanna know what you thought of her because like, I felt bad for her in the beginning, but then, like, towards the end, like, I started losing, like, empathy for her, so what did you think about her?
I think in a way they kind of like f- they handle it well, I believe, at least in my opinion, because they made her so different, from the other seasons. So is she like now is she redeemable? Because like at the end, obviously she does something to change everything. And so it kind of reminds me of like what Victor went through and they had such the strife going on through like this whole season.
And they've
Um
always had strife too from, like, season 1 too,
yeah,
but
and
now
now
it's, like, on, like, a where they're not even, like, speaking to each
it's
other anymore.
toxic. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like so like I'm interested to see like how she can redeem herself later on. I mean, she's like very selfish, but I kind of understand too because her her daughter. Um, but she also had like a power up too, which is pretty cool that I like to talk about a little bit later. I think they handle it well. Like I felt like the actress she played this character so good this season. I felt like it was really compelling, honestly. I didn't like her that much, like, just chill. But at the same time, too, like, realistically speaking, like, I could kind of see where she's coming from. So,
She reminded me so much of Wanda
yeah, she was such a Wonder
from Doctor
character. Yeah, I
Strange because
know.
like, she lost so much, and I get that, I get where she was coming from because
Yeah.
like, I get, like, having your child not only just die, but, like, never exist, and then, like, seeing, like, your husband from the '50s, like, pass away, that can, like, really tear a person up, but at the
Mhm.
same time, she like you said, she was, like, so toxic towards, like, Victor, like, I hated, like, that scene where, like, Victor was, like, trying to apologize to her, and she was like, "Nah," "Fuck you," basically, right?
Mhm.
And then, like, she made that deal with Reggie, and then she's kinda responsible partly, like, for Luther and Klaus in a way.
Yeah.
Will she be redeemable? I don't know. I think she got what she wanted basically, right? Her daughter and Reggie. I mean, not Reggie. I meant, Raymond.
Ooh.
Ooh,
A
spicy.
triangle. Well, keep in mind too, she's an angry character. I mean, in season 2, she had her voice taken away from her, and then she was like, racist persecution as well. And
Mhm,
and she was a celebrity back then. So like so much shit has been taken away from her. So I kind of see where she's coming from too. And obviously her kids and her, husband guy.
mhm.
But yeah, moving
Yeah,
forward.
how did you feel about, Luther?
Luther is like such a big dummy that he's like a cute character. I always loved Luther. And I'm glad he found love this season with Sloane. I actually like Sloane too. Sloane is really cool. She has like great powers. Actually in the comics, I believe what's his name? Marcus, the number one from the
From
Sparrow
the
Academy.
Sparrows?
Yeah, he
Mhm.
actually was supposed to like fly too. So they
Oh,
kind
wow.
of swap powers, yeah. So
Mhm,
I really like their little relationship. I mean, was it corny? Yeah, but it was like funny, and they're both kind of like a little bit dumb. So like it was a really sweet like relationship. Um, but like some stuff happens to Luther, which like that's the great thing about Umbrella Academy. It's like you're kind of chilling, you think it's like really funny, and then like you think some things are corny, and all of a sudden some like dire dramatic shit happens. And so that's I don't know if you want to talk about that now or a little bit later, but that threw me for a loop. I was like, holy shit. But yeah, I love Luther.
yeah, honestly, like, this season, it was kind of the most depressing season for me,
Yeah.
well, because they every like, they follow the trope was like, "Okay, well, we have to stop another apocalypse."
Right.
But this one felt like the apocalypse was actually, really, like, well, it was. It really was happening
Yeah.
in real time, and they're slowly watching not just the world, but the universe die,
Yeah.
right? So, I think, like, the last 2 episodes, I really enjoyed just because like, it reminded me so much of, like, Avengers Endgame, like, how
Mhm.
everybody, like, reacted to the snap. Like, everybody has, like, different feelings towards, like, Allison was kinda like Steve Rogers, like, "We have to do something, right?" And then there's, like, other characters like, "Oh, well, I'll just accept my fate, like 5, right? He was like, let's just do nothing. Let's not save the world, right?
Yeah.
Because like, because it's like we tried it so many times, and every time we try something, it just ends up getting worse. So it's like,
Mhm.
let's just accept our fate. But I thought the wedding scene was actually like very nice. It was like such a like a cool like little bonding moment, and it's like the really like the only time we've ever seen them like really bond as a family. Like even like with Reggie, like the whole family just got together. It was like it was a really nice episode. Like, what do you think of it?
I feel like to spit in Reggie's face, honestly. I was, like, so happy with him, like, later on. I was like,
I know.
"Man," and then, like, the little it
That's
just
how I
shows
felt when
you.
he closed the door on Klaus. I was like, "You motherfucker!"
Yeah, this motherfucker cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so disappointed, but at the same time too, he's not even like fucking human. So it is what it is. But yeah, that was such a sweet moment. One of my favorite episodes, or at least moments, was the wedding. We never get to really see that, and I felt like it was really special. Unfortunately, not all the sparrows made it through, so it's just Ben there. Oh, Ben, obviously Sloan. But yeah, like Ben basically like I think he was a highlight too because he kind of like let his guard down. And I think Ben and Klaus slept with each other too, which is yeah
It was
because
heavily implied because he was like, "Oh, you saw my kimono,"
well that
right?
motherfucker was in his underwear and they were
Right.
shirtless and they were like so
Sus.
yeah
Yeah.
sus but like that's so interesting because obviously Ben has like such an odd relationship with Klaus because afterlife Ben right so that was interesting that I wonder if that's going to be explored later on 'cause that's really interesting to see and obviously the end credit too like I'm interested to see what's going to happen
Mhm.
but
Well,
yeah
let me ask you one more character we should mention, was, Harlan.
oh yeah
So he makes a return for that those the was, like, Sissy's, son, and he kinda, like, grew up and had these powers.
yeah
Um, how did you feel about him? Because I feel like he was kind of like a throwaway character for this season, and, like, he was just, like he filled his purpose and he was just, like, done, right? And it kinda
yeah
made me hate Allison more for that, but tell me what you thought of it.
Yeah, like, honestly, if they wanted to, they could've kind of, like, went down the I don't know if you remember the film Looper with, Bruce Willis. It kinda reminded me of that,
Oh,
where, like,
yeah.
this kid
Mhm.
is, like, special or something, and then maybe he has to die. It's like,
I
I
felt
don't
so
really
bad for him after seeing,
Yeah,
like,
that
what he went through.
I felt
Yeah.
bad. Like, I was like I really did feel bad. I was like, "Wow, this kid's so messed up." Um, but it kinda goes down, like, the route of, like, where the boys, is like should they die? Should they all die? Like somebody has special powers like that. I mean, look at
Mhm.
Victor. Look what Victor did with those powers, right? Um, it's just he was in a way he was like an accidental villain. And obviously he's like mentally screwed because he grew up like so lonely and always
He never
moving and
learned to control his
he
powers
never
and stuff.
learned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see like the remorse and the regret in his eye that the day he got his powers. So I felt
Mhm.
bad for him. Um but it makes me question like is he better off dead? Like not because later on he does lose his powers though. So you just want to if you want to talk about that he does lose his powers. So it's like does he deserve to die now? I don't know. And Allison was like she really changed this season. So like if you want to
Well,
like
that's
yeah.
why I hated her, cause like, she killed him when he lost his powers, so he
Yeah.
wasn't really a threat anymore, so he
Right.
was kinda, like, innocent. Not
Right.
innocent in a way, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't know he wasn't in control of his powers, like, cause they reveal in the season that, he killed all their mothers in this
Mhm.
timeline,
Mhm.
which also didn't make sense to me either, I'll talk about later. But, like, yeah, I felt bad for him, cause like, he was just trying to, like, make peace with Victor and, like, you know, 'cause his whole life was fucked up. I felt so bad watching his life story just, like, every time, like, he moved, like, some shit went down and just watching his mother die kinda reminded me of, like, Peter Quill, like, watching his mother die too. But yeah, that didn't make sense to me, with, like, him killing all the mothers, cause we saw Klaus go through Hargreaves' drawers, and we see him go through his receipts of all the babies he bought, and that's how he found out where his mother was. But then I'm like, so like if he bought Klaus as a baby and has the receipt, but they were never born, like how does he have the receipt? You know, it was kind of confusing for me. It was like the fucking grandfather paradox scene.
Yeah. I mean, again, unless
Don't
if
be an Elmer.
yeah. I mean, if Reginald somehow has this weird ability to like dip his hands and like alternate timelines or something. I don't know if that'll be explored later on, like in a different season. Um, I bet with you that's gonna be explored because, like, at the end, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but for Reginald to be, I guess, to kind of make this, a new timeline or something, you can't possibly know everything, money-wise, banks-wise, and we kinda see later on that he kind of, like I don't wanna spoil it now, I kinda feel like I wanna save it, but I don't know, should I just talk about it?
Yeah, just say.
Yeah, okay, so Reginald basically, basically he rules the city, it seems like, and but he rules multiple like buildings, right? So he owns multiple buildings, and we'll get more into details a little bit later. um but like, how does he have so much knowledge to do that? So how did he acquire this knowledge? Because obviously you can't like know everything, right? So I kind of have a feeling that he has like this ability to like get to different timelines a little bit later, which won't make sense either, because like why he didn't do this in the first place. But I feel like all these questions that you and I have will be for sure answered in season 4. But moving forward, because I do want to get to the end of the show, because there's so much to unpack there.
Well, the ending, like you said, ends with, so basically they reset well, they find this room, it's called, Project Oblivion, and it's kinda like, this portal or another dimension, basically, and then Reggie kinda, like, tricks everybody into, like, going in there and, like, resetting the universe, basically.
Mhm.
Um, so they fix everything technically, um, and they recreate this alternate timeline, but it was kinda confusing because it's like, okay, so all the Umbrellas survived, Luther survived even though he was killed, but we don't get Sloane. Ben is there, none of the other Sparrows are there, and they don't have their powers anymore. So I'm a little confused as to like, well, is this like a whole new timeline just created by Reggie? Is this like a reset, like before, like even like as far back as like before season one? And then we also get like a new Ben too, in the after credits.
That's
So
strange. Yeah.
so what are your predictions?
Yeah, that's really strange because so Allison kills Reginald in that hotel thing. And somehow Reginald is alive now in this new timeline. And Allison, she meets her daughter, and she also has like her husband that's supposed to be like, I don't know, 80 something, maybe 60 something, whatever. But he's like regular, like mature, young. Um so like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. And also, Allison has like a cut on her shoulder too. So like, I'm thinking she probably kept her powers because everyone else kind of like healed.
Yeah,
But
they
what?
all healed. Like
Yeah,
Five had his arm back and everything, but she gets cut or
yeah,
something.
yeah. That doesn't make sense. And I also like keep thinking about like what old Five said to like young Five. Like don't fix it. So now I'm thinking like the timeline is even more screwed. Like I feel like this is basically next season is gonna be like rebels fighting against this tyrannical force.
Right. Does that
Um,
also, because you have to think about, does that also retcon Five's future? Like when he sees his future self?
So what I think honestly is they're in some type of pocket timeline or pocket dimension, and it's kind of like that thing what happened in Loki, where like the end of time is there. So I feel like they're at some sort of like end of time or like pocket dimension, parallel dimension. I don't know, some complicated thing they'll probably explain later on. And I obviously it was kickstarted by Allison. And I believe that she still has her powers because she wasn't healed. And all the sparrows they're gone except for Ben because Ben, I guess he was born. He was with the Umbrella Academy basically. But what doesn't make sense is now why, if everything's okay, why is there like a doppelganger Ben, like the actual, I think, real Ben that he got to live out his
Yeah,
life in
I'm
Korea?
confused about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how will that affect, like, stuff? Like, will there be, like, some type of psychosis later on if they meet? Are there other doppelgangers? And the reason why I say pocket dimension too is because in some way, Klaus kind of, like, goes to pocket dimensions, I'd say, because he dies, goes to afterlife, and he died, like, Reginald pushed him out of that, out of the room, and somehow he ended up back in a hotel, like, I guess because he was in a different dimension. So I feel like this is a safe space and perhaps like at a season 5 it's not going to be so much centered on like timelines and dimensions. Maybe it's going to be like some turmoil that happens like in a different country or whatever, rather than saving the timeline or saving the world. Maybe it would be something more intimate. um That's my only guess because I feel like if this is a safe space to live in, because nothing really is going on except Reginald being like the king of like this city.
Right.
So many questions, and some stuff doesn't make sense. But yeah, I wonder if some Sparrow Academy members are alive too. Like, even if they didn't show up there, I wonder if they're like just regular people somewhere else.
Wouldn't it be crazy if like you mentioned the doppelgangers, like what if like the reason this version of the Umbrella Academy doesn't have their powers is because they have doppelgangers that have theirs. So it's
It
kinda
could
like
be.
they're it's kinda like the ending of season 2, kinda like they meet their doppelgangers, right? Ooh, wouldn't it be crazy if they were like villain versions of themselves or like they were like
Oh.
evil, like Umbrella Academies or something? It would be crazy just to think because they don't and they don't have their powers, so they can't fight really good anymore, so they have to figure out how to, like, reset everything without using their powers, and 5 can't do his time jumps anymore.
Yeah, well, to add to that, actually, because at first I was thinking, well, maybe this is the perfect timeline for Reginald because not only is he in control of everything, but at the same time too, he doesn't need any academy to help
That's
him.
true, and he has his wife back.
Yeah, he has his wife back. Yeah, which was interesting to see. I'm just glad to see Luther, like not big body ass Luther, like
I
regular
know.
Luther. I was glad to see that, but there's no
Regular acid,
Sloan. Yeah.
right. Yeah,
So
well, before I get to my final thoughts, I just wanna know, your final thoughts and what how would you rate this season?
yeah, again, the show was really fun for me, with the pandemic affecting it, and I think it's clear they didn't like travel to so many locations. I felt like they handled it really well and matched the story. Even if I did get claustrophobic sometimes, I felt like it was a nice mix of like Klaus and Reginald, they're doing their stuff and whatever. Um, I'm glad to see, like, the Sparrow Academy, like, how they interact with each other, like, are they better than the Umbrella Academy? And I still think the Umbrella Academy's better, obviously, because none of them died. There is, like, this type of synergy that they have, and you kind of get that, like, through, living through the flaws and the heartbreak and
Mhm.
stuff, and so, the Sparrow Academy didn't suffer any of that, so and look, they're all fucking dead. Yeah, I really enjoyed this season. I think I would rate it at a 10. Honestly, I really had a lot of fun, and I feel like it sets up the next season really well. And I feel like the next season is going to be really, really, really crazy. So, yeah, on to you.
For me, well, I would just wanna say this wasn't my favorite season, season 2 is still my favorite just because I liked seeing them in a different time period and just, like, trying to how they, like, lived in different, like, parts of, like, society and stuff. I thought that was really cool how they adapted it. For this season, it was good. I mean, for the most part, there just were, like, a few moments that, like, just, like, confused me, and there were, like, some throwaway characters, which I didn't like. But overall, I like that everybody kinda, like, rediscovered themselves. I thought that was really cool, especially, like, with the Victor thing. And, yeah, it was great overall. The soundtrack, of course, is always amazing. They always, like,
Mm.
find ways to, like, add, like, some new songs, some old songs, like, they throw it's a nice mix, like, I feel like, Luther making the mixtape.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was great seeing, like, old characters like Ben back. I thought his character, like, here was, like he kinda, like, redeemed himself in the end, which was cool. He became less of an asshole, and it was so funny too, cause like, he was, like, kinda, like, jealous of, like, Klaus too, like, cause he wasn't, like he wanted to be, like, number 1, like, even, cause like, when Klaus was, like, hanging out with, like, Reggie, he wasn't his favorite anymore. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, overall great season. I would give it a 9 out of 10, just cause like, those little confusing parts. But I can't wait till next season, so let's wrap this review up, Akram.
Yeah, so if you made it to end, we greatly appreciate you. Thank you so much. Please subscribe if you can, or just check out some of our playlists. We're doing right now Miss Marvel reviews. There's like one Miss Marvel review that's like doing super well, so I
Really
appreciate.
well, I was surprised, actually.
Yeah, I was like, damn. So this is a banger.
You
Then
guys
yeah,
must love Miss Marvel. I'm like, "Shit."
yeah. Rather than the boys, we're also doing the boys too. Boys is gonna end soon. So yeah, but we just wrapped up Obi-Wan Kenobi. If you're new to the channel and you made it to the end again, please leave a like. We do week by week reviews, series reviews, predictions, reactions. You can check out all our playlists. Yeah, so Dylan, please take us away.
Well, like Akram said, guys, we have so much great content coming out, so make sure you're following the channel to see all our new episodes. We're doing The Boys, we're doing Miss Marvel, Obi-Wan just wrapped up, so we just finished that playlist if you want to check that out. Of course, we do, everything Marvel, DC, and, we got a couple indies too. Like if you want to watch our Everywhere, Everything All at Once review, that was really fun to do. And make sure you're following us on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and our Instagram page. We always update. So thanks again, guys, if you made it to the end of this episode. And until then, thank you for having lunch with us.
See you guys. I can't. I can't do this. I can't do this.
Obi-Wan.